The Wounded Knee Massacre. So before westward expansions, Indians still lived on reservations because of the Indian Removal Act, but they were allowed to have their own culture and do their own thing. The land was kind of poor, but they had good land and bad land. There's also been a rise of disease and alcoholism since the introduction by the Europeans. The problems were the land was poor and it was too dry, there were little resources, and there were conflicts between the tribes. Daily life for the Indians. So men and women were both storytellers. They tell stories to the children, to each other, as a form of entertainment. But women were the backbone behind the camp. Everything that had to be done within the camp, it was the women who did it. The women ran the camp, and they were often recognized for doing so. The men were the hunters and the warriors. They would get on horses and hunt the buffalo, as well as going into battle. They were semi-nomadic, so they'd have a permanent home, but they'd often move away and then come back. So federal help before and after the massacre, there wasn't really any, only things that hurt them, such as the Homestead Act that brought in white people to settle, the Dawes Act, which tried to take up land, divide it, and ended up giving them the worst of it. Railroad Act, which also brought people in to their land. The Indian Removal Act, which moved them out of their original land. They were not protected by the government at all. Chief Bigfoot is really the main person in this because he was the leader of the Sioux tribe. He tried to move them to Canada when he saw what happened to Little Bigfoot, and he just really wanted to protect his people, but he was attacked by U.S. troops, and it was more of a massacre than a battle. The aftermath was there was a decrease in the native population severely. There was also a decrease in the buffalo population, but lately it's been rising. There's also the rise in the mistreatment of natives, and this is also the end of kind of major native conflicts for the era. So the conclusion is there was a whole lot of negative impacts on the natives, a decrease in their population, a rise in alcoholism, just all sorts of bad things, and there was further movement onto their land and taking it and giving them the worst of it. Hundreds and hundreds were massacred, and it was just kind of ways to pacify the natives that really hurt anyone more than it helped anyone.